What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the Porsche 904 Carrera GTS, new from Hot Wheels in 2024. I believe it debuted in the G case. So let's take a closer look at this one and see if it is worth adding to your collections. Let's get this video started with our casting. So taking just a quick glance at our proportions, really nothing wrong that I can see. It looks pretty good, pretty close and pretty accurate. There's the real life car to kind of compare and contrast with, proportionally speaking. Now, when we actually get into the casting itself here, we see a couple interesting things. First off, our headlights up front, these are actually a piece of the window. So they are incorporated into this window piece up here. This thing in the back is a piece of the interior, which looks really cool. So that's poking through. It also, the interior pokes up front out here, right there. And then actually the interior pokes through in the bottom here for the exhaust. So there's just a lot of little like places where the interior bit kind of pokes through the main diecast body, and it looks really, really cool. Also a piece of the window are these little things up front, which look cool. And then the base actually extends up to right here. All this kind of front section here is the base. And then the base actually extends all the way up to where where our taillights and everything else back here would be. So this is not actually a piece of the main diecast body. So very definitely some interesting engineering choices there that I think are pretty cool. As far as our body lines go, everything is pretty much where you'd want it to be. The doors are nice and seeable, noticeable. This one down the side, you got this little bit casted in down here. We do get a mirror on this release. Just very, very nice, very, very clean, and overall, I think, pretty well done casting-wise. Now we get into our deco. So this is our paint and deco. We have just this nice basic silver, and then we've got the 86 on the side, the blue stripe with the 86 on the hood, again the 86, and again the 86 with the little Carrera GTS logo right there. And now overall, I think the silver base is actually quite good, but this kind of blue stripe and the blue 86s all over it, I think kind of kill the vibe and make it look a little bit cheap. I don't really love that look. I think that this is meant to replicate a real life livery that this car ran. So that is kind of cool, and I won't knock it too much for that, but I just think a clean version would have been a better choice for this initial release. As a matter of fact, I feel so passionately about that I actually did it myself. So this is basically a custom. All I did was remove the tampos everywhere except for the Porsche ones on the side, which I really liked. A lot of people actually got mad at me on Instagram for removing that little Carrera GTS logo, but I just didn't like it because it looks asymmetrical, and I like my cars to be symmetrical. And on my own custom, I can do whatever I want. So that's exactly what I did. And I think that this looks so much better, and this would have been a better first release. Moving into our details category, it's a little bit odd on this particular release. So we do get headlights, like we said earlier. They are a piece of the window, so they're just kind of big plastic globs right up front, but they still look pretty good. No Porsche logo up front. We do get Porsche logos down the side though, so that looks pretty good. And then making our way to the rear section here, no kind of paintwork whatsoever. It is easy to do it yourself. As you can see, I did do it on my custom and it looks pretty good, a lot better. But yeah, not very difficult to do, but it's a shame that it's not there. And then we do get these wheels on the side, which I think that this was a very good wheel choice for this particular car. I think that those look very, very nice. But as a whole, our detailing department is a little bit bland. Moving into our roll test, this being a Hot Wheels mainline, it should be no surprise that it rolls, and it rolls extremely smooth. I went ahead and put this one on the scale, and it comes out to be 27.22 grams. So it is very light for a mainline, definitely below average. However, it is kind of a small casting, so that is definitely playing a part, but there is a little bit more plastic than I would probably like to see. Pros and cons, getting started with our pros. The biggest pro is obviously that mainline price point. The $1.25-ish price, I think, is very good, and it's obviously going to be the cheapest way to get this car into your collection. I'm fairly certain that there are other representatives of this car in the 1/64 scale space, but this is going to be the cheapest way to get it, so that's a big plus. The other big pro I'm going to say is the engineering of the casting itself. We do get the plastic headlights, so we will never have to worry about this not receiving headlight tampos. And I really like the interior kind of poking out here and then poking out there and even poking out down below. I do wish that this section back here had been incorporated into the diecast metal somehow though. But overall, the engineering is pretty good in my point of view. For our cons, though, there are some that we definitely need to talk about, and they are, as I mentioned, the kind of lack of detailing here in the rear. Definitely a little bit of a bummer, and the livery itself, kind of a bit of a bummer. Wish the Tampa work had gone more into detailing it and less into giving it a lackluster livery, personally. The other one that we need to talk about, just like with the Jaguar Mark I that we just reviewed, we need to talk about these casting seams. So this particular version, not bad at all, but there is a seam that kind of runs in this section of the casting that is very noticeable on certain examples. As a matter of fact, if I pull back out my custom, you can see that the seam is much more noticeable on this particular one. So that is definitely something to look out for when you are picking this one up. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some other classic Porsches that you might have, with the Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7 from Hot Wheels and the Porsche 356 from Matchbox. And now here we have it with a few more modern Porsches, with the Porsche Cayman from Matchbox and the Porsche 911 GT2 RS from Mini GT. So now it is time to get into the final scores and my final thoughts. The hype level for this one, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was not super hard to find, but not very easy to find either. The Porsche fans were definitely looking forward to it. The execution, I'm going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. It's overall pretty good, and I like the way the casting is engineered, but there are a few things I would have definitely changed. Community input, I gave this one to the council, and 8 of the 9 members did respond, and these are their results. This is going to average out to an 8.1. When we add these 3 scores together, and we average them up, we are going to end up with an 8.76, which I will round up to an 8.8. Which is not a bad score for not a bad model. The casting can really be easily worked with, as you saw with my custom, to really make it a lot better and make it just look that much better. And when it's only $1 and it's that easy to kind of work with, I really don't have much to complain about at all. Even if you don't like the livery at all, just get rid of it. If you do like the livery, perfect. It was only $1.25 to add it to your collection, you know? I don't really think at the price point there's a lot to really mope and grope about. I personally really like the engineering of the casting, all the little cutouts and things that the interior does and where it pops out from. Really think that was cool. Do wish it had a bit more metal worked into it though. That being said though, I really don't see anywhere you can go really wrong with this casting. I don't see any reason to hate it, and I definitely think it is one that you should add to your collections. And with that, guys, that is all I have for this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and make sure to leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next video.